Hello and welcome to this channel which is called English Decoded. I'm Abdul Salam and in today's lecture I'm going to talk about the voice of the verb, the active voice and the passive voice. So let's start the video. Compare these two sentences. Rama helps hurry. Rama helps hurry. And the second sentence, Hurry is helped by Rama. What is the difference between these two sentences? It will be seen that these two sentences express the same meaning. The meaning of these two sentences is the same. So what is different about these two sentences? In sentence 1, Hurry helps Rama, the form of the verb shows that the person denoted by the subject does something. Rama, the person denoted by the subject, does something. The verb helps is said to be in the active voice. In the first sentence, Rama, which is the subject, does something. Rama, the subject, is the doer of the action that is represented, that is shown in this sentence. So we can say the verb helps has been used in the active voice because the subject of the sentence is doing something itself. In the second sentence, the form of the verb shows that something is done to the person denoted by the subject. Something is done to hurry, the person denoted by the subject. The verb's helped is said to be in the passive voice. In the second sentence, the subject is hurry and he is not doing the action shown in the sentence. He is not doing the action of helping. It is being done by Rama, which is now in this sentence the object. So, a verb so used in which the subject is not doing the action of the sentence is said to be used in the passive voice. In the first sentence, the subject was active. It was doing an action. In the second sentence, the subject is passive. It is not doing any action. That is why these are called the active voice of the verb and the passive voice of the verb. So what is the voice? What is voice? Voice is that form of a verb which shows whether what is denoted by the subject does something or has something done to it. Voice is that representation of the verb in which we see whether the subject is doing something or not, or something is being done to the subject, whether the subject is active or it is not active, it is passive. So what is an active voice? A verb is in the active voice when its form shows, as in the first sentence, that the person or thing denoted by subject does something, or in other words, is the doer of the action. An active voice is that form of the verb in which the subject is active. It is doing the action that is shown in the sentence. The active voice is so called because the person denoted by the subject acts. The subject is acting. That is why a verb is said to be in the active voice. A verb is in the passive voice when its form shows, as in the second sentence, Hurry is helped by Rama, that something is done to the person or thing denoted by the subject. The passive voice is so called because the person or thing denoted by the subject is not active but passive, that is, suffers or receives some action. On the contrary, passive voice is that form of the verb where the subject in the sentence is not doing anything. It is not the doer of the action. It does not act. Rather, it suffers an action or receives an action. That is why it's called the passive voice. Now, the comparative examples of active and passive voices. Sita loves Savitri. Savitri is loved by Sita. Second, the mason is building the wall. The wall is being built by the mason. Third, the peon opened the gate. The gate was opened by the peon. Now here are some rules which show how the active voice is changed into the passive voice in different tenses. For example, in the first column we have got the present tense past indefinite present continuous, past continuous, present perfect, past perfect, future perfect, modal verbs like will, shall, would, should, could, and infinitive, to be. In the present tense, we've got the first form of the verb. In affirmative sentences, we've got the first form of the verb with an S or ES, and in the negative or interrogative sentences, we have got do or does with the first form of the verb. When it is changed to the passive form, we've got the is, are plus the third form of the verb. Now remember, in the passive voice, always the third form of the verb is used. For example, in the active of present indefinite will be I write a letter, and the passive will be a letter is written by me. Is written. Now, the past indefinite. Second form of the verb in the affirmative, and in the negative or interrogative, we use did plus first form of the verb. Now, in the passive, third form of the verb with was and were. For example, I wrote a letter in the active voice. The passive voice will be a letter was written by me. Was written. Third, present continuous. In present continuous, we use is, are plus the first form of the verb plus ing. I am writing a letter. What will be the passive voice of this sentence? We'll be using the same is, are plus being plus the third form of the verb. I am writing a letter. It is the active voice. What is the passive voice? A letter is being written by me. Is being written. Similarly, the past continuous, we use was, were plus the first form of the verb plus ing. I was writing a letter. This is the active voice of the past continuous. What will be the passive voice of the past continuous? We use was, the same was, were plus being plus the third form of the verb. Active voice, I was writing a letter. Passive voice, a letter was being written by me. Now, present perfect, we use have and has plus the third form of the verb. I have written a letter. This is the active. So what will be the passive? We'll use has, have plus been plus the third form of the verb. I have written a letter. This is the active. What is the passive? A letter has been written by me. Has been written. Now the past perfect. We use had plus the third form of the verb. I had written a letter. So what will be this is the active. What will be the passive? A letter had been written by me. Had been written. Now the future perfect. In the future perfect, we use will have, shall have plus the third form of the verb. I will have written the letter. I shall have written the letter. This is the active. What will be the passive? A letter will have been written by me. A letter shall have been written by me. Will have been written, shall have been written. Now the modal verbs. What are the modal verbs? Will, shall, would, should, can, could, may. Now, if these words come in a sentence, I can write a letter. I would write a letter. I should write a letter. I may write a letter. I might write a letter. I must write a letter. I ought to write a letter. This is the active form of the modal verbs. In the passive, we just add be plus the third form of the verb. I can write a letter. A letter can be written by me. Now, another rule of this is, which is very obvious, that the subject is changed into object and object is changed into subject. For example, if I say I write a letter, in this the subject is I and the object is letter. In the passive voice, this was the active voice. In the passive voice, the object, which is the letter, is now the subject, and the subject becomes the object. A letter is written by me. I is changed into me and becomes the object, and the letter replaces the I and becomes the subject. And the infinitive, to write, what will be? To be written. To write, to be written. To eat, to be eaten. To drink, to be drunk. To kick, to be kicked. Now, these were some rules for changing active voice into passive voice. Now, why do we use passive voice when you have got the active voice? What is the need of, what is the necessity of using the passive voice? There are instances where active voice has to be used, and there are other instances where active voice is not that suitable and we have to use the passive voice. The active voice is used when the agent, the doer of action, is to be made prominent. We use the active voice when we have to give prominence to the subject of the sentence. We have to make the subject prominent. We have to bring the subject to the spotlight. Then we use the active voice. When we have to bring the object to the spotlight and we have to hide the identity of the subject but bring the object to the spotlight, then we use the passive voice. If I say, I made this chair, here I want to bring the subject, which is I, which is myself, to prominence, to the spotlight. I use the active voice. I made this chair. I want to show the people that I am the one who made the chair. But if I say Titanic was released in 1997, now the Titanic is not the doer of the action, it is the thing that the action has been done to. But the actual doer of the thing, the producers or the company, that is not prominent, that is not important for me. The important thing is Titanic. So I use the passive voice to give more importance to the Titanic rather than its producers or the company that released it. So I say Titanic was released in 1997. That's all for today.